Recorded right now. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to transfer it over to Kristeen to take it away. Go ahead, Kristeen.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm so happy to be here. Happy Friday. I see all of you. I think, like last week, I'm going to, at the very end, give us an opportunity if you wanted to talk that's not being recorded. So, should you feel like that, I feel like I know we lost a few people that maybe didn't want to talk, and that's good that they had the opportunity to leave when they were ready. But if you feel like saying anything and you don't want it to be recorded, then we're going to have that opportunity. I think it's really great. But good morning, we're back. And I'm so happy to be here. You can see the sun streaming in through my blinds. Ah, what a good day. It's like all of a sudden, again, those tears of happiness just want to come into they're just filling me up. I'm so happy to be here with you. I've got so much to talk about. We do have to start though today, right away with mindfulness. Sit with yourself so comfortable. So if you're laying down, sitting down, if you'd like to close your eyes, if you'd like to sip your tea, I'm always showing you no special mug today, just a regular mug with some nice mint tea though. How about that? Nice mint tea to energize me first thing in the morning. Grab anything you need and get comfortable. Put your feet on the ground, heel to toe, or if you like to sit with your legs crossed, you can. Supported back. So what that means is you might want to put a pillow behind the small of your back or anywhere on your back that's comfortable so that if you need to lean back, you feel more supported, or you can sit straight up. I'm sitting straight up right at this moment. And what I'm going to say is I really just want you to get really comfortable. Notice the breath. Just notice the breath, the quality of your breath. Notice the fluidity of your breath. Notice what's on the mind. And that's without judgment and without criticism, just being aware of the sounds around you. Be aware of your own emotions, the feelings. It can be physical or not. Also being aware if there are remnants of conversations. That's a good one for today. Remnants of conversations that you might have had with someone, or the idea of a conversation that has to be had. And if any of that has residue in the body, what does that feel like? Just being aware. And then, because we've been doing this, you get to choose what you'd like to focus on. You feel like coming to a place of gratitude right away with just one, two, maybe three things. And every time you breathe in, an opportunity to come back to that place of gratitude. And it can be a very simple process. As I breathe in, I can say, I am grateful for. And as I breathe out, I can do the same or not. I'm going to put my mute on so that we sit in silence, and we are going to sit, that's okay with everyone, for a full 5 more minutes today. When you're ready, take a big breath in. Beautiful breath, a nourishing breath. Breathe in. Maybe sigh it out. And do that 2 more times. Maybe breathing in with a big breath and really relaxing the body on the exhale. Good morning again. Maybe taking your arms and taking a full body stretch because we just sat for a few moments, and a stretch just moves what's happening in the upper body and just changes everything. So there you go. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, turn your head to the right, and then inhale breath. As you exhale, turn it all the way to the left. Inhale breath as we come back to neutral position. So as I said, we've got a lot to talk about this morning. And of course, always related around mindfulness and gratitude. But let's get to what I said we were going to talk about right off the bat for the last few weeks. And I haven't read this quote. And this is from Jon Kabat-Zinn. It was on your screen last week. I've got it kind of hanging out here on my little book holder. So I'm just going to read it to you first, and then I'll show you the front of the book in a moment. Letting go means just what it says. We said we were going to talk about letting go as we come to the end of the year. It's an invitation to cease clinging to anything, whether it be an idea, a thing, an event, a particular time or view, or desire. It is a conscious decision to release with full acceptance into the stream of present moments as they are unfolding. To let go means to give up coercing, resisting, or struggling in exchange for something more powerful and wholesome, which comes out of allowing things to be as they are without getting caught up in your attraction or rejection of them, in the intrinsic stickiness of wanting, of liking, and disliking. It's akin to letting your palm open to unhand something you've been letting go of. And that's the part I like. It's the idea of opening your hands and letting go of something you've been holding on to. And that's by Jon Kabat-Zinn. And the front of the book looks like this. And yes, you'll probably hear me talk about him quite a bit. And wherever you go, there you are. And the great thing about it is it doesn't matter what your background is, your religious affiliations, or anything like that. It teaches mindfulness. So you don't have to worry about anything about being pulled into one thing or another. It's the reason why mindfulness and meditation has been accepted around the world, regardless of cultural background and so on and so forth, which is why I love it so much. So we can all just learn to pause and breathe and stay present and really come to a place where we're not holding on to. But that word is used a lot. And especially after a year like this, I don't expect anybody to just let go. It's actually annoying when people tell me, oh, why don't you just let go of that feeling, that thought, that emotion? Because the work that is involved with letting go is that challenging and yet that easy at the same time, but can take a lifetime. That's all I'm going to say about letting go today. I'm going to let you come to a place where you decide and choose and see what resonates within this and take from it what feels great and here we go, let go of what doesn't and see how that feels. But I want to now move from that mindfulness place into another term that we're going to mix in with today. And it's a term that I love. So I'm going to share my screen with you today because last week, remember, I forgot and I didn't tell you why I was forgetting what I was saying. I had a huge exam last week. So my mind was in with you and my mind was somewhere else. There was too much floating around in my mind. So when that happens, I have to write things down. This week, not so much on my mind. I'm more mindful. And I can do that. I can tell you the truth about that. It's all good. So here we go. I'm sharing a screen. Okay, I hope you can see the screen. My face should be very small. And at the top of the screen, it just says generativity. So, not gravity, which most people think. Generativity is a process that begins in midlife and in which individuals become less concerned with self identity, the self, and to focus on themselves, and more concerned with leaving a legacy to the next generation by helping others, such as younger coworkers, children, grandchildren. And this is a theory that was adopted or talked about by Eric Erickson. The book that I received it from is Aging as a Social Process, and the author of that book is Wister. So I want us to consider this for a moment. I like everyone to know my age. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm getting older, and gratitude really, if I have to be very honest, is something that's more on my mind as I've gotten older. But when I used to listen to my mom talk about her four children, with me being the oldest or the eldest, she would say that there was something different about me, that I was always born with resilience and always born a little bit different than the others. I don't know if that's true. Maybe the way she parented me was a little different. There are so many factors in how we're brought up, and the difference between my age and my siblings, who are much younger than me. So there could be a lot of different factors. But generativity, when we talk about it in relation to gratitude, actually is an actual thing. And really, all it's telling us is that as we age, we just become less focused and less aware of us, and that we may not realize it, but many people change their focus to other people in their lives that are important. And you notice, I love the idea that it says younger coworkers, because it doesn't have to be your own children or grandchildren that we pass this on to, that we help out, that we are generous with too. It can be anybody at all, but it's definitely a less focus on self. And I thought that that was really important because for this entire program, I've been reading an article on gratitude for the last few weeks, and I just happened upon it. It's called The Psychology of Gratitude. And I just thought I would share that with you because I have found it fascinating. But then again, if you ask me anything about gratitude, I find it all quite fascinating. I find, and I can look back and see the different phases of my life in response to gratitude. And I really liked what this gentleman said about generativity. Now, I learned that term and the concept of that term quite some time ago. What I didn't realize was that there was a connection to gratitude. And that's what I just want to speak to you about today. I just thought that was interesting. You don't have to read what's on this screen, but I did input something that I thought was important. There is indirect but compelling evidence to suggest that gratitude plays an important and underappreciated role in the lives of highly generative adults. The most relative research in this regard has examined the life stories that highly generative adults construct to make sense of their past, present, and future. And that is very important because I felt as though when we look at this year, a lot has gone on. I'm sure if you were to tell me everything that's happened in your life for this year, you would be able to tell me so much that's happened in your life, the things that have affected you and how. I'm sure we all have these stories. But how we navigate these stories in relation to gratitude is very important. So I want to try and pull these concepts together. And yes, it also has a place with letting go. But let's just start here first. We already talked about letting go for a second. I read that piece. Generativity and the stories we tell ourselves are very important. When we were children, it is possible that when we didn't, before we knew pain or suffering or anything like that, that we thought we were just happy. As we got older, we might have thought we were blessed. We might have thought we were lucky. And then, of course, life takes its course. And some of us might still feel that we're very lucky and very blessed. I don't know where everybody is in their life, but these are the stories that we construct. And very often, generative adults and individuals who come from a place of gratitude, who tend to be generative in the way that they've navigated through their life, are able to look at a more challenging situation. So think of this year, think of the challenges, excuse me. I just had a sneeze. And I'm not sick, I'm just telling you, I had a little fuzzy in my nose. Okay, I'm just gonna say that, put that out there. Isn't it funny that now we say those things? I'm not sick, I'm just letting you know. My nose is a little itchy, probably because I'm wearing a sweater. Because, you know, me and sweaters, we do well, but not very well. Okay, so here we go. So generativity, when we come back to it, and the stories we tell ourselves, and based on how we bring gratitude into our lives as well, we may not have realized we were doing all these things, help us navigate, become more resilient, and actually help us to navigate through challenging times. Perfect example. Think of someone who's lost their job, right? Now, people have lost their jobs before we were in the middle of a pandemic. Let's just be very clear. I have been one of those people who has lost a job, and it wasn't because I left the job of choice. The company shut down, and there I was. And yet, you might notice that some people are able to say, I lost my job, but wow, did I get to spend time at home? Now, I'm not talking about pandemic related because I see no benefits or no silver linings in this pandemic. I've said that before. It's a personal opinion. When people are suffering and, you know, and there's loss of life because of something like this, I see no silver lining, but I can still come to a place of gratitude. Two very different things. But what I will say again is imagine someone losing their job and then you're able to hear them talk about the fact that they were actually grateful. Yes, they use the word grateful for the time they were able to then spend with their families, or they found a better job, or they just really hated that job and they didn't want to leave it. I see Barbara nodding a little bit. That idea, like, I want you to really dig into that feeling for a moment. The idea that something has happened in your life and it's not the most fabulous, but you were able to come to a place of gratitude. It takes a lot of, I know I'm asking a lot of you this morning to really dig deep and really go to that place. So I'm going to ask you to take a breath for a moment while you consider that, because that's a lot, what I've just said. There are other stories, and I'm going to use my own. Nabil and I talked about this. The fact that I don't typically tell everybody, but I guess I'm doing that today. It'll be 5 years in March of next year that my co-parenting partner, my husband, the father of my children, would have died. And the year he died was the most challenging of my life. All of a sudden, the emotion just wants to come out. That was the same year I lost my job. 6 months later in the same year, I want you to imagine I'm in Oakville and I have lost the person who really was responsible for most of the bills and the money and everything else. And I lose my job because they want to close down, and they do. So they tell me first because I was a director, and then I had to, they were downsizing slowly to let go of everybody else. And I realized I hated my job. And when I look at what I'm doing right now, first of all, losing my spouse is not, or the father of my children is not what I want. And I, like many people would say, if there was anything I could have done to ensure he was here today, I would do that. But here is my life today. I've had to embrace it. The way, I'm going to say this right now, many women do as well, right? And it is a different life. I want to talk to him about my children, our children, every day. I want to I want to laugh with him. I want to share with him, but I cannot. But I wouldn't be here with you today. I wouldn't be coming to a place, I wouldn't be in university probably right now. My children wouldn't learn some of the lessons that they needed to learn at a very young age. There are just so many things that wouldn't have happened. So I am grateful for the good people who've been around me, who have supported me to bring me to this place, if I can say that. I am grateful that my children are healthy. I'm grateful that I'm here with you today. I'm grateful that I can share and hopefully remind people that there is hope, that there is faith, these things, and there is also gratitude. Generativity allows us to navigate these, and it just seems like the most abstract idea I know of pulling all of these things together. But they have a place, they fit, even though we may not like the idea of gravitativity and coming to a place of gratitude or generativity, sorry, and gratitude. But the truth of the matter is that they fit. Among the most generative adults, the desire to express gratitude for the benefits they have enjoyed in life, or even for life itself. Some days, on the hardest days, all I can do is say, I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful that my kids are healthy. And that's it for today. I can't give you any more. And that's okay. So, the desire to express gratitude for the benefits they have enjoyed in life, or even for life itself, becomes something of a credo in their life stories, illustrated in how they remember the past and what they see as their goals for the future. It may be it may indeed be from the most generative adults in modern societies that we are most likely to hear stories in which protagonists live in an aura of pervasive thankfulness, a kind of pan gratitude that extends beyond specific personages and personified agents to humankind writ large. Now, I know it's a lot, but I'm sure you understand exactly what that means. I'm going to give you a second if you need to reread it, if you need to think about it. Even on our most challenging times, we laugh. Even during a pandemic, we smile. I'm sure at some point you saw something on TV and thought, whew, well, I'm happy I live in Canada. Because I do that all the time. I'm so happy I'm a Canadian. I'm so happy I was born up in the Rockies of BC, even though I've lived in other continents and other countries, right? There's so many things that we can do that we probably have done. And I want you to take a moment as we come to the nearing end of this class is to maybe think of the ways in which you may not have realized there was a term to explain what you were doing all along when you were living through this year and still coming to a place of gratitude. Maybe you've been doing it your whole life. Thankfulness. You see someone who's always thankful. Someone said that about me the other day. She's always grateful, she's always thankful, and she's always happy. No, I'm not always happy because happiness is a choice, and sometimes I choose not to. I want to sit in my suffering for a minute or two and be upset. And that's human, right? But I do make the choice as quickly as I can to come back to, and once you know, isn't it Maya Angelou who told Oprah Winfrey, when we know better, we learn better? That term has been coined all over the place, but it really was Maya Angelou, who is no longer with us any longer. And she was, famous poet and author from the United States, who was a mentor to Oprah Winfrey. And she said that. And so when I sit in my place of suffering and I'm upset about something and I think, how did I get here? What happened? And then I come to a place and I say, but look what I've done. I'm still here. I mean, 5 years has gone and here I am. And if anyone told me that this is where I would be in 5 years. And it doesn't matter how you get here. For me, my motivation was my children. We'll talk about motivation some other time. My motivation was my children. I could not lay down and cry every day and not get out of bed because I had to feed the children. I had to because that's just the way it was. So I want you to think about this in your own life and realize that what we've been talking about is probably something you've been doing all along. Maybe not even realizing that you should be giving yourself a pat on the back for it. And that the focus is no longer really on me. That's what I've realized in my 50 years. I feel the focus is on making sure that other people are okay and they know they can get through. And that there are ways that you can do it. Of course, there are medical practitioners, and I'm not a medical practitioner. I've said that before, but medical practitioners to help us get through. But there are also ways like mindfulness and coming just to a place of gratitude. But today we dove deep, did we not? We dove deep with that letting go. So now, generative adults are, in my view, most likely individuals who have their stories, but their stories are not the first thing that you know about them. They might have challenges, they might have difficulties, but they are able to live and maneuver and work with the grief, the pain, the heartbreak, the upsets, the frustrations, the irritations in a way that is not causing the dis-ease inside of themselves, but instead able to move outside of what is happening within and really allow others to feel, to understand, to know that it's going to be okay, or here's what I've learned with the wisdom of the years that I've lived. And that's it for today. That's really all I wanted to say. Just was a lot. It was a lot on my mind. So I'm going to get us to stop for a moment and breathe through this because the time right now is already 9:34. So taking a few breaths, and yes, thank you, Nabil. I know you've come on. So if you would love to, if anyone's watching the video, if they would love to just sit for another 5 minutes or so, 10, 15, it could be even half an hour after this video ends, and just sit and breathe. And for us who are going to stay on, maybe turning the video off so that if we choose to discuss, we can.
Perfect. So I am right now going to stop the recording just to be clear, Kristeen, and we can continue with your instructions. So recording is being stopped right now.
Thank you.